Hey cat friends, today I had an epiphany. What does every great YouTuber and streamer have? LED lights. So in today's video we're designing a 3D printed LED lit sign for the background. Let's go. Here at CAD with Chris, we do our own stunts, as well as our own graphic design. But because I'm not a graphic designer, I have no Adobe Illustrator skills whatsoever. I designed my logo in Solidworks, which actually makes it really easy to now make the sign of our logo. So to start off, we're just going to start with a sketch on the front plane. We're going to start one hexagon, another hexagon, and another hexagon. And make all of these flat. Now I want roughly like a 20 by 20 sign. That doesn't really work out for breaking it into 6 sections, so we're actually going to make it 18 by 18. And then I'm not a graphic designer, but I think you're supposed to make things equals to make it look better. So we're going to equally space this out 3 inches, 3 inches, and 6 inches because it goes across. And there we go. Next we're going to add in some lines to cut this. So that we're going to connect that inside circle, then we're just going to use our trim tool. And we're going to trim these out. So now we have the outside and then the inside cut, just like our logo. Pretty simple. Next we're just going to extrude boss this out, and we're going to make this, we're going to make it blind, and we're going to make it roughly 2 inches thick, should be good. I think that'll look alright. And there we go, we got the basic outline. It's that simple. That's all it took to make the logo. Next we need to fillet this so that it's a little smoother around the edges. We want all edges. So we're going to click on this, and then we're going to choose all edges. And we're going to give this about a 1/4 inch fillet. So there we go. That's pretty simple. So now we got the main body of it done. That's what we're going to be 3D printing. Now we need to start cutting in some grooves in the back for the LEDs to recess into. So for this, we're just going to go normal 2, and we're going to use something called the offset tools. So we're going to go to offset entities. We're going to click on this. Oops. Nope, we don't want to do that. We're going to select the edge and then go select tangency. And then we're going to go offset entities, and we're going to offset that in. We're going to say roughly 1/4 inch. That should be good. And then we're going to offset this one more time. So we click on there, and then we can click in. And we need to leave, my LED strips are, you guessed it, 1/4 inch. No, just kidding. They're 1/2 inch. Perfect. So now we got this, we're just gonna cut that in, and we're gonna cut it down 1/4 inch, should be good. Now we kind of have a outside tray for those LEDs to sit in. I really want this thing to shine though, and I want it to shine on the inside of the sign, so we're gonna do another cut, the same kind of deal on the inside. So we're just gonna repeat the process. Okay, so now we got the 2 cuts, but we're gonna need some place for the cords to come in, and then some place so that that inside LED root can connect to the outside root. We're gonna start a sketch on here. And we're just going to, we're gonna extend this out. And then we're gonna need to cut some sort of gap into here. We'll give a little this. And then we're going to connect this up. Make sure this is tangent to that, or collinear to that, and collinear to this. So this will give us a place for the connector for the LEDs, for the controller to come in and the power. And then in this kind of rectangle that we're cutting out there, that's where we're going to package all the wires from the LEDs to connect them all together. So that we have a fully defined shape, and then we're just going to cut it down to that surface. Okay, so there we go. Now we kind of have a nice area for it to loop around. We got lots of sharp edges, so we're going to go around and once again fillet all those so that there's no potential pinching hazard for the... Ooh, let's get all of them. That should be all of them. And then once again we'll go with 1/4 inch. Nope, we won't go with a 1/4 inch. We'll go with 1/8. Perfect. So now those are all kind of rounded off. Perfect. So now we've got the main shape. We have the runs for the LEDs. Next, we're just going to need to do the rest to offset it because we want the sign set away from the wall so you get that nice glow in behind. So to do that, we're just going to start sketching our rests. So the way I'm planning on attaching this to the wall is using 3M Velcro strips. So I'll put a strip or 2 strips on the LED sign, and then we will put another 2 on the wall to stick to. Anyways, but with that, we still want some sort of rest in the corner just so that this doesn't rock. So to do this, we're going to make some stops here. So we're just going to connect this point and this point, and then we're gonna make some little roundy boys for it to sit on. Like that. 1 inch. Seems about right. That looks like what the computer's telling me. And that's perfect. So we're gonna just go around and I'm gonna make one of these on each, and then as well as our extruded rectangle in the center for those Velcro strips to sit on. So now we got the outside shape done, we got the cuts made for the LEDs, and now we have those rests made for sticking it to the wall and for support. Now the only problem here is I don't have a 3D printer that can print 18 by 18. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to segment this so that we can fit everything on the 3D printer. So to do this, we're gonna use something called the split command. And if you haven't used it, it's super useful for this kind of work. So the way it works is we're just going to sketch out a pattern of where we want our cut lines. So if we just start a sketch on this face, we're going to start sketching out where we want our cuts. Now you got to be really strategic about this because it's going to matter when it comes to assembly of it, and then also to just cosmetically where those edges are going to look the best. So in my case here, I don't want to cut on the very corners because when you meet up 2 parts on the corners, it doesn't work out very good. It's hard to get that corner nice and smooth. So I like to split right in the middle of sections. So for the top here, I'm going to split right in the middle. And then I'm going to make my next section right in the middle here. So now I have a Prusa MK3. So I believe it's like a 8.5 by 8.5 build surface. So if I take this out to here, I can double check 7.5 by 6. So this part will then fit in my Prusa. So the nice thing about splitting it here with the cuts right in the middle of the sections is that we can add dowel holes into each of those parts so that we can fit little wooden dowels. They're like little cylinders of wood. We can stick those into holes on both of the parts and it'll perfectly align them. Makes it super easy for assembly. And like I said, it lines up your parts. If you get your tolerances right, pretty bang on. So we're gonna go around and continue segmenting it like we're doing here. So we're gonna add another segment here so that we got another part, and then we got another part. So now coming around to the other side here, we have a lot more geometry, and this splitting kind of gets a little bit more complex. So if I split right in half here, I kind of end up close to this edge, and it's gonna be right on the edge of the radius, and it's not gonna turn out nice. We're actually gonna split this up differently. I know I said I don't like splitting on the corner. Unfortunately, with this weird geometry, I think we're gonna have to split on the left corner. So one thing I'm gonna do is the first split is I'm gonna make this center section its own part. So if we just double check once again the build size of this, that's gonna fit. So now we kind of got that center section all built to itself. We are going to split this section in half, but we're going to split right in the middle of that little bit. So it's going to be kind of a smaller piece than before. But then once again, we're going to have that nice alignment, not on a radius, that we can use those dowel holes. Now this is where we kind of have this big shape. There's not really a way to split this. We could try and split halfway in here, but then we would be left with a weird pie cut. So unfortunately, we're just gonna have to split on the corner. So we're gonna start here and go here. So now we have our split sketch all laid out. These are all the lines that we're gonna cut this part into. So to launch the split tool, we're just gonna type in split and choose the top one. Now we're going to choose some templates that we want. If we're going to split into parts and assemblies, it's going to consume those. Now under our trim tool, we're just going to choose that sketch that we created and then choose cut part. So now it's going to show you all the bodies that you wish to cut. So we want all of these cut into their own bodies. And we're going to click OK. So now you can see we have 8 different bodies for each of our 8 different parts that we're going to print. So now what we can do is we can take these and we can go to insert into new part, choose a template, and choose yes. And there we go. We now have just one part of the giant logo that we need to print out. So now we can go ahead and create our STLs from this and do our 3D printing. One thing I wanted to show you though is we're going to add those dowel holes in. So for this, all I do is go into Hole Wizard, click on the front. We want dowel holes, and we're going to use a 1/4 inch dowel. Throw in some positions. We're going to slap these in. Just like so. And now I'm going to do this for every single part. And then the only other thing I do is I add a little bit of a chamfer just so it's easier to, whoa, that's a big chamfer. Just so it's easier to put those dowels in. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the dowel holes on all the parts. I'm going to skip through that because it's really boring. And then these parts are all ready to 3D print. And to do that, we're going to use the power of time-lapse because we can do that on YouTube. So let's go do that. There we have it, guys. The sign is all wrapped up. It turned out way better than I could have imagined. It brightens up the room, it's kind of unique, and I can officially say that I'm a professional YouTuber / streamer. CAD friends, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next project.